Nigerian court orders death by stoning for men convicted of homosexuality. On June 14th, a 70-year-old man and two other gay men were arrested by the religious police force of Bauchi, Nigeria. The accused were charged and convicted for engaging in acts of homosexuality and sentenced to death by stoning by an Islamic court. According to the Hisbah religious police official, the three men were accused of raping. I'm not going to R-wording. I'm not going to say the word because of YouTube. R-wording two minor boys after drugging them. The incident happened in the Gwada village in May. The parents of the two boys had complained about the three men. Religious police, or the Hisbah, arrested them soon after. In Nigeria, having sex with a minor is also an offense punishable by death, but has never been enforced. The men were instead charged for engaging in homosexual acts. So this is a little bit complicated because this isn't, I don't want this to be construed with like an LGBT rights case, because they allegedly were committing crimes against, like, brutal, violent crimes against minors. But what I find complicated is the fact that they were not charged for crimes against minors. They were charged they were charged under the section of the penal code that had to do with it being a homosexual act, not with the act being involuntary, non-consensual, not with the act being against a minor. But it was the homosexuality part of it. Yeah.
So three things happened here. First, sex with minors. Two, RAPE. Three, homosexuality. And the court decided, like, look at these three. Which one of these three we have a problem with? And they went with homosexuality. Among the three, that's the one they had an issue with. Unbelievable. Were there any punishments for the other two, or like, no, those two other two are fine?
Based on the reporting that I have seen, the charges they are facing are because of the homosexuality, not because of the drugging and R-wording.
Wow. And by stoning.
They're bringing back stoning.
Yeah. Nigeria is bringing. By the way, somebody was asking in live chat, is Nigeria a Muslim country? It's half Christian, half Muslim. Okay, so I mean, it's stoning. Like, obviously, we don't have any Christian countries right now that endorses stoning. So this is obviously the Islamic part, right? This is Sharia court. Nigeria is cursed by religion, especially because when you have half, and it's not even mixed, it's like half of a country is Christian and the other half, like, they're geographically separated as well. This is like a recipe for absolute horrible disaster, right? So this is like a nightmare. By the way, I do want to defend these people's rights. Like, if you say, like, oh, this is not LGBT rights, like, no, like, criminals have rights. Okay, like, if a criminal, even though they have committed the worst crime, if they get charged with being gay, you know, human rights are only human rights if you defend the worst humans. Okay, like, even if you defend, they apply to every human, even the humans that have committed the worst crimes, right? So you need to defend these people's rights. We're like, hey, no, they shouldn't be charged for being gay, even if they're vile people that have like, you know. And also, even if they have committed the worst crime, nobody should be punished by stoning. There's no crime that deserves you to be stoned to death. Like, literally nothing. Okay, like, you might think, like, you know, you might come up with something that says, like, this one does it, but no, there's no justice system should ever endorse stoning of anybody or torture. This is wrong in two ways. There should be no torture in the justice system and no death penalty, and this is both. So there's that. It's so barbaric and backwards.
Okay,
like, you're stoning people? Are you serious?
Yeah. No, sorry to interrupt you. What I meant when I was talking about the LGBT rights is what I mean is that this is a very complex or difficult case to talk about as someone who promotes LGBT rights, because the LGBT community is constantly being painted with the brush that we are people who do things to children. They say gays can't reproduce, so they recruit, and meaning that they go after children. So it's very complex and difficult for like someone who does advocate for to talk about instances like this, but they do need to be acknowledged and like talked about openly. But it's just this contention of trying to talk about it but not conflate the two, not conflate the fact that these people did this horrible thing with a minor towards like advocating for the rights of the larger LGBT community. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand that. I understand when you, especially if you had so much experience with people trying to associate with this with each other, anecdotes like this will be like come across like, oh my god, like I can't imagine that this is going to be used for that purpose. I could see how problematic that is. Yeah, but yeah, I understand.
It's what I mean to say is it's an awkward situation where you're like, hey, we shouldn't stone people to death for homosexuality, but they're like, hey, but Susanna, did you look at the crime that was committed? It's pretty freaking bad and barbaric. I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, oh yeah. Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, but obviously it's very clear. Okay, no matter how barbaric your crime was, you shouldn't become a barbarian yourself by torturing or killing people. Like it doesn't. Yeah, the whole point of the justice system is to not satisfy your desire for revenge, but to do what is needed to promote peace and reduce crimes. And none of this does that.
hey guys, if you're a fan of Blasphemy and Sexy Callie, like me, then you need to be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below. Because if you subscribe, we will send you a free copy of our Blasphemous Art ebook. And let me tell you, it is the tastiest blasphemy that you can find anywhere available today. And we are so generous with our blasphemy that we continue to send you more blasphemy every week. So make sure to subscribe, link in the description below.